Good morning. Got a single topic for you. How to change the world at work. I am a millennial, technically, and there's a Millennials in the Workforce video thing that, broke the internet and all that. I find it very informative, and I listen to it from time to time just to see if I pick up anything new. And the bit about the millennials wanting to change the world as a result, perhaps, of participation trophies, and you're really great and you can change the world, it's too grandiose. But I still want to change the world, though. Like, I understand practically and logistically, I guess, that it's not technically possible, but I actually understand how it is possible and how you can do it at your work. It's a matter of perception. So, first of all, changing the world is an extremely difficult proposition. It's very likely that if you did change the world, you would change it for the worse. The world is extremely complex. Just look up examples of the law of unintended consequences, or the Cobra effect. It's the effect that basically has the complete opposite of the intended result, and completely unforeseen. So temper that with your desire to change the world. The other thing to point out in the perspective is that we want to change the world because we want to feel important, and we want to be important, and we want to. This is a tough pill sometimes. It's self-importance. It's self-aggrandizement. We think we're better. We think we know. We think we understand. And if I were in charge of the world, then I would know how to run things better. And the truth of the matter is there are millions of people, probably billions of people, who are smarter than you. And a lot of them are in charge of a lot of these things. And they're doing a pretty good job so far, I guess. We're not all dead and radioactive goo, so it's not so bad. We have, especially in Western civilization and around the world, as far as the poverty numbers are indicating, and the food availability, things are really, really good. Really extremely good. And the idea that someone can walk into it and say, well, let me just change this and I'll make it all better. Very low. Very low. I wish I could. I wish I had all the answers, but I know I don't. And that's the other thing. It's a little bit of humility. That's a bigger pill. That takes a while to swallow. You probably want to get one of those pill crushers and break it up. The other thing is, you don't know stuff, man. And I don't know stuff. And when I'm 16 and I'm like, man, I know how things should run. I understand this. Mom and Dad have no idea. And then 4 years later, I'm 20 and I'm like, man, I was dumb when I was 16. I had no idea. Then you're 25 and you're like, all right, 25-year-old me needed to get his stuff together and stop doing self-destructive garbage just to get back at Mom and Dad and be like, I'm so in charge. I can do whatever I want, even if it's stupid. And then you turn 30 and you're like, all right, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. I'm realizing that I don't actually know any of this. And these are arbitrary numbers. You can do that earlier and earlier, and I recommend it. If you're going to wind up somewhere else in life and realize that you wasted some time, I understand there's a process, but if you can skip some of the steps if possible, I would recommend it. Try to learn about yourself, try to work on yourself, try to improve yourself. That's something that you are the project. You are the only project you should really be working on. So try to make yourself better. So, we've already established that you really don't know too much about the world, that the world is a very complicated place, and that, in the future you might be looking back and going, maybe I didn't have all the answers at that point. And that's probably something that's kept happening, and if it hasn't kept happening, then you might have a problem, sir. I'm 25, and boy, when I was 12, I sure knew everything, and I sure do now. You need to be developing. You need to be improving. The other thing is bringing yourself into alignment. This is all self. This is all self-improvement. We're all talking about this, and it will lead into this, into changing the world. So stick with me. So bringing yourself into alignment, understanding that you are different parts. You are component selves. You are someone who is hungry. You are someone who wishes to experience relationships with other people physically. You have drives and desires, and all of these things are all combining and firing off in your brain and producing something. And you need to understand that those things are separate from you and also part of you. It's a very weird thing to understand, but until you understand that, you can't really work with yourself. You need to be able to work with yourself. How many times have you said, I'm going to stop procrastinating, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to do whatever, and then 3 days later you're like, and whatever the symbol for procrastinating, I'll do it later. So who made the decision the first time? Who's the one that said, I'm going to stop? And who's the one that, lit up? You're not so in control of yourself. We like to think that we are. We like to think that we're our own autonomous beings and we're in charge, and it's just not the case. So start breaking yourself down. Start understanding yourself. Start trying to figure out what makes you tick. Because once you understand what makes you tick, you can start running yourself correctly, or at least better. I've been doing that for years now, and I'm just barely starting to think maybe I understand a little bit, some small portion of how I work, and the results are great. I'm losing weight, I'm getting more done, I'm putting myself out there, I'm experiencing new things, and I'm pursuing interests that just pop up in my head, and it's very rewarding and it's very fulfilling, and it's making a change. The change is the side effect of what you're doing. It is not the intention. If you if you start out saying, I'm going to change the world and here's how it's going to happen, there's very little chance that you're going to change the world. But if you can change yourself, that has a much broader change. It has much bigger ripples in the pond. Living your ideals, living your truths truly through your life, that's something that comes through in you, and it's something that comes through, that reflects off onto other people. When other people see someone doing the thing that they want to do, no matter what anyone says, you're like bloody Elon Musk, man. I mean, it's crazy. People are excited for you. They know that you're passionate about this, and they know that you're pursuing it, no matter what all the detractors say. And it's amazing. And it's very empowering to other people to see that it can be done. So, we've got that. You're improving yourself, you're breaking yourself down, you're building yourself up, you're understanding things, you're bringing yourself into alignment with your ideals. And you're willing, perhaps, to understand that you might not have all the answers, and to experience things from other sides. Listen to people who you disagree with, and maybe get angry, maybe kick some stuff, maybe do whatever you're going to do when things have to change, because change sucks, but it is required. And the faster you make the change, the better off you'll be for it. Especially when you start to rebel. When you start to rebel really hard, then you know that it's a change that's really necessary. So you're improving yourself. You're bringing yourself into alignment. You're doing better things. Now work in changing the world. Changing the world needs to be local. It needs to be small. Because, like I said, those ripples have a huge effect on the world. And they have a huge effect on the country. And they have a huge effect on the circle of friends that you have. And if you're on the internet, my lord, ripples are exponentially increasing. It's unbelievable. You have this potential, but the potential has to be unlocked within yourself first. Then you go small. You try to focus on little things. So you want to affect the people that are around you. You want to make their lives better. In the end, it's never going to be money. It's never going to be fame. It's never going to be power. It's always going to be about people. It's always going to be about people. So try to make it about people. Try to make it about helping other people. Try to make it about living your highest truths, your ideals out truly in the world. And people will pick up on that, and they'll understand that you care for them and that you want what's best for them, and they will change too. And when they start changing, the whole system just gets into this feedback loop. you're making yourself better. You're improving the lives of other people, the people around you, and those people are improving the lives of the people around them too. But work, I'm sorry. So all of this is happening, and this whole time you're improving yourself. You're correcting your intentions. You're correcting your motivations. Okay, you have to do those things before you start doing anything at work, because you need to understand that you have a large impact at work. And I don't care what your biggest, if you have the biggest job or the smallest job at your work, whatever the job is, you need to understand that you are making ripples and you are having an impact. And if you don't believe that you have the power to make an impact, the power to have an impact, then perform this exercise. Think about the absolute worst thing that you could do in your position. And I don't care if you're a line worker, if you run wire, or if you are just on the assembly line, or if you work, bus tables. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, think about what you could do that would cost the company the most money. Think about that. And this is the age of the internet we're talking about. You can have you can do a complete fake whistleblower whatever thing. You can do things that are very malicious and very damaging to a corporate brand. Maybe even to the point that you could damage a company so that it closes completely. Be creative. Think of the absolute worst possible thing, and keep in mind that you probably don't even have the amount of business understanding to understand how damaging an individual could be to a company. So, imagine you're just a lowly phone caller, and you look up the information for our biggest customer, the company's biggest customer, and you call them up after hours and you say, hey, I work at this company, you can verify my employment, I just want to let you know that, the worst possible lie you could possibly imagine, just something that is just so horrible that it would completely cause them to lose all trust in the company and break the contract with the company. That is extremely damaging, and you have that ability. And because you have the ability to be so terrible, you also have the ability to be the complete opposite, to do great, to think imaginatively of what you have, what you can do to make the company prosper. So the next question, why do you want the company to prosper? The company's just taking advantage of me, I'm a victim, yada, yada, yada. The company is hiring people, and the company is employing people, and the company is paying people paychecks. And those paychecks are being used to feed families, to pay electricity bills, to pay car notes. It is all there. These are all people. It's coming back to people, the people that are working next to you. All of those people's jobs, knowing that you have the power to be extremely damaging to the company, all of those people's jobs, in some small part, depend on you. Depend on you doing your job correctly. Depend on you being creative about solutions and not being creative about being destructive. So, you want to make a difference at your job. Think about what you can do to help, not the company, the people that work at the company, to help the company to do so well that it hires more people, to do so well that, Christmas bonuses, things like that. Focus on the people, focus on your coworkers, focus on the people that are in that company, that are working next to you. Understand that because you have the power and ability to be extremely damaging to their livelihood, to ruin their Christmas with layoffs, that kind of thing. You have the power to do those things if you are creatively destructive enough. Or what if you're creatively productive enough? What if you really pulled out the stops and really tried to help the company in ways that would cause it to grow so greatly that everyone in it prospers? And as I said, that ripple effect, the ripples keep going. They just keep on going. So think about this. You can help one person and have ripples from one person, but if you help a company so creatively that you can help that company improve the lives of all the people that work there, you've increased the amount of ripples that you're creating tremendously. So there's how you change the world at your job. First, you understand yourself and you bring your morals, your truths, your philosophies into alignment in yourself. You understand what you're capable of. Next, understand the power that you have at your job. Jocko has a recording or a video called Extreme Ownership, and it's a book, I think. But Extreme Ownership, understanding that you are not just some cog in a machine, that you have the ability to contribute to how well the machine works. No matter how big or how small you are, you can contribute in some portion. And when you improve one person's life, those ripples go out. But if you improve the life of a company, the ability of a company, and the ability for that company to do more and to bring in more people and to do more good in the world and to produce better and to bring prices down, things like that, those are all potential, those are all things that are going to increase the lives of the people that work at that place. You can make a difference. It just starts with yourself. You know, everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change himself. So be the change that you want to see in the world and all that other motivational garbage. Just work on yourself first. All right.